Hello, my name is Chloe, welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you my April wrap-up. So in the month of April I read 15 books. I am particularly proud of this number because it is the same as March and I thought my reading was going to drop off quite a bit. Saying that, I did have a big change in how many audiobooks I read out of that 15. So I read 8 normal printed books with my eyeballs, 6 audiobooks and 1 graphic novel, which I don't normally do either. My ratings went like this. Apologies, I'm going to look at my notes. I had 1 book I didn't rate, 1 1-star, 1 2-star, 5 3-stars, 3 4-stars, 1 4.5-star and 3 5-stars. 3 5-stars in a month is not like me at all, so I did have some really highly rated books but also some pretty crapply ones. Crapply? Which brings my average rating to a 3.5 stars. As I said, I read 15 books, which equaled a total of 4,999 pages. Couldn't I have just read 1 more page? That's very annoying. But I thought I'd do some extra little stats. Some of them I do every month. We have my average pages I read per day was 167, which does feel like a hell of a lot. The average length of the book I was reading was 333 pages, so that is pretty standard across all of my months. And strangely, I read the same number of books as I did in March, 15, but I read 362 less pages, which at the average length of books I'm reading, that's pretty much a whole other book I read last month. But graphic novels, short audiobooks, all of that thing is going to bring those numbers down. But I'm just going to talk you through these books in order from the first book I read to the last book I read. I normally do worst to best ratings, but because I have a lot of sequels and things in here, I thought that the order made more sense. Some of these I don't remember much about at all, so let's just see how this goes. The first book I have to talk about here was one of my highest rated books. It's a 5-star, and that is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. I read this for March's By the Angel Along, hosted by Becca, and I hadn't quite read this by the time of the live show. But then Becca asked me to be on the live show, so I ended up reading this book in 1 day, which I'm not going to lie, I think is quite impressive because it's a chonker and I actually physically annotate these books. So yeah, there was a lot to do to get this one read in the time, but I did it. I can't tell you much about this book because it's the 3rd book in the Mortal Instruments series. It was a reread, so maybe that sped me up a little bit as well. To cover it basically, it is a world where demons, werewolves, vampires, angels, all of that stuff exists. And the Shadowhunters are a group of people who are on the mission to rid the world of demons. But yeah, book 3, thoroughly enjoyed it, 5 stars. Next up, we have the very opposite end of the scale, and that is the book that I didn't give a rating, and that is A Mother's Reckoning, Living in the Aftermath of the Columbine Tragedy by Sue Klebold. This was actually March's pick for Chloe's Crime Scene Corner, but I didn't get round to finishing it in time. When I went away to college, I hadn't quite finished this and I didn't take it with me. Sadly, I didn't actually like this book very much. I thought I knew quite a lot about the Columbine tragedy, and reading this book made me find out that a lot of the things I believe to be true may not be and are likely not. So that was really eye-opening. But a lot of this book was really hard to swallow, I guess. So this is the mother of one of the Columbine shooters, Dylan Klebold, and for the first part of the book I really felt for Sue. There was a big air of that she shouldn't be able to mourn for the loss of her son because he did commit suicide at the end of the school shooting. And I mean, without going into too many of my opinions, because this is a very sensitive topic, I do think she has a right to mourn for her son. Like, her son is dead, so she's allowed to miss him, she's allowed to grieve, like those are all natural human responses. But then the rest of this book was kind of emphasizing that she didn't know anything was going on, but then occasionally dropping in some little bits of information about things she did know were going on, but she didn't take them seriously. And yeah, I haven't given this one a rating because I just found it very difficult to take my own personal biases out and appreciate this book for what Sue was saying, because I actually didn't appreciate what she was saying quite a lot of the time. Saying that though, this was a very interesting book to read with the book club. We all shared a lot of opinions and I had a great time doing it. So not sure if I would recommend this book, but I do recommend being part of the book club and having these sorts of discussions. Next up, we have a 3-star read, which is Every Single Secret by Emily Carpenter. This one was a bit strange. I'm not sure whether I should be reading thrillers by audiobook, because maybe that's the issue, but I also don't think it is the issue. This was a book about a couple who were engaged, and the guy wanted to take the woman onto a couples retreat where he's getting therapy for nightmares that he has, and wants to take her along. They get to this retreat and they're told that the couple shouldn't speak to each other, they shouldn't socialise, and they have to attend all these therapy sessions. And it's just all a bit weird, and that's probably all I can tell you without spoiling it. I will say that the big grand outcome of this story was quite shocking. I was shocked, but the overall ending just left everything a little bit flat for me, and I kind of wish I wouldn't have bothered. So 3 stars because I did enjoy parts of it, but I probably won't go shouting about it from the rooftops. The next one we have here is one that hurts my heart, and Victoria, please close your ears, and that is The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter. This was the Chloe's Crime Scene Corner pick for April, and sadly I didn't enjoy it that much. It was very long, very long. Did I say I gave this 3 stars? I'm not even sure, but 3 stars. This is about Charlotte and Sam, or Samantha, who are kids when 2 masked guys break into their home, kill their mother in front of them, and they're basically looking for the girl's father, who is a defense attorney for people who've done like heinously bad things. So it's an attack meant for the father that impacts the girls and the mum. And this whole book, it then starts out, there's a school shooting right at the start, so that was interesting, seeing as I just finished A Mother's Reckoning. But this was just far too long. It was far too long. And the main bulk of the story is trying to figure out the girl who has been part of the school shooting. She's holding a smoking gun when our main character gets there, figuring out what's happened there. And I did guess the twist within 150 pages. I think it was page 146 I noted down, which, just to show you how soon in that is, I had a lot more to read after I'd figured it out. So yeah, interesting. I appreciated the gore because we don't normally get that to that level. It was very, very graphic, but I did know what was going on, which brought the enjoyment down quite a lot for me. Next up, a book I'm still not sure I understood, and that is Watch Over Me by Nina LaCour. I gave this 3 stars. I don't really know what happened. So this is a book about Mila, who goes to work on some sort of farm camp thing, and it's all kids who've been fostered, and that's really all I got. She's got a challenging boy to work with who doesn't want to open up to anyone, and they form a good relationship, but I don't really get it. I gave it 3 stars because it was written really beautifully, but I genuinely don't know what happened. There was a strange ghostly element mixed in. I didn't get it. I really didn't get it. Moving swiftly on, we have Our Stop by Laura Jane Williams, which in the end I gave 4 stars. I was debating on a 3.54, but I just gave it 4 in the end. This is about Nadia and Daniel, who are constantly bumping into each other on the London Underground, on the tube. And Daniel starts writing notes in the misconnections section of the Metro. I don't think it actually says the Metro, the paper that they give out for free on the tube, saying like the girl at the door with coffee on her shirt, you're really cute, shall we go out, kind of thing. And it's just a whole book of, I don't want to call it misconnections, but that's what it is. Like, there are so many situations where they could have bumped into each other and they don't, and it's just a little budding love story. It was very, very sweet. I do think I'm going to get rid of this and not really think too much about it though. Like, it hasn't had that sort of lasting impact on me, but I did really enjoy it while I was reading it. But yeah, nothing too profound, which is why I struggled between 3.5 and 4 stars. But the enjoyment was there while I was reading it. Maybe I wasn't in the right headspace for the cuteness. Maybe I didn't want the cuteness. But would recommend for like a sitting in the sun summer read. I think it's adorable. Next, a book that I've probably rated a bit too highly is A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro, which I gave 3 stars. I did not love this book. I really, really didn't. Thinking back on it, I probably should lower the rating. That's what coming to these books again at the end of the month always makes me feel like I've got the ratings wrong. But this book is about, I forgot his actual name now, but his last name is Watson. And he goes to a school where the descendant of Sherlock Holmes, Charlotte Holmes, is at school, is studying, I don't know. And pretty soon after the guy gets there, there is a murder that it looks like Watson and Holmes are involved. And the whole book to me, it's just annoying because I'm not really interested in Sherlock Holmes, so maybe this was a bad decision from the start. But my main hate in YA, thrillers, mysteries, is when the teenager is more intelligent and on it than the police. So mix that in with the fact this is a Sherlock Holmes story. It was just irritating, in my opinion. I didn't really like any of the characters. I don't really know why I gave it 3 stars. I would probably bring it down to a 2 now, but we're here, we're in the wrap up. Seems like I've got none of my ratings right. But yeah, I'm glad I read this and I will not be continuing with the series. Next up, a 5-star read, just turn it straight around, is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. Oh my god, I love this book. I listened to the audiobook on SCRIBD. I listened to it all day while I was working, and I don't think a book has ever made me physically sweat from the smut and the sexual tension. Like, it's really embarrassing to admit it actually, but it did things to me. I was hot, hot and flustered, just, you know, overall hot and bothered. And it was just written amazingly well. So this is about a stuck-up woman who is sent off to a small fishing village where her dad is from, who sadly died. And she encounters a grumpy fisherman who wants nothing to do with her. And it was just a whirlwind that made me hot and bothered. So 5 stars. Next up, worst book of the month, Bad Girls, Perfect Faces by Lynn Weingarten, or Weingarten, I still don't know. This book I have been holding on to for the longest time, thinking, oh, it should be a nice, quick and easy read, and I hated it. I gave it 1 star. This is about Sasha and Xavier, who are best friends, and right from the offset we know that Xavier was in a relationship with Ivy, and Sasha didn't really like Ivy all that much. Then tragedy strikes. I don't know how much to tell you, but tragedy strikes, and it's one of those situations where Sasha becomes the world's best hider of brutal crimes. Like, the things that this book put on teenagers and their ability to do was actually ridiculous. Like, I love true crime. And again, I can't tell you too much about this without spoiling the whole story, but there are certain things that we can laugh at killers for how stupid they are. And it's just the things that Sasha and Xavier and other characters get away with in this book is just so unrealistic that it hurt my brain. So 1 star. I think this might make my worst books of the year because I don't think I've had many ratings this low. Next, another one I've already gotten rid of is New Game Volume 1 by Shotaro Takuno, which I gave 2 stars. I didn't really love this that much. This was my graphic novel for the month. I wanted to read it. I was saving it for a readathon because it was a quick read, so I read it as part of the Magical Hopathon. And yeah, it was quick. So I didn't care. I genuinely didn't care. This was about a girl who's come straight out of high school at 18. She gets a job in a gaming company and she acts like a bit of a little kid. And the whole story is about how she has to become an adult in the working world. And I just thought it was very stupid overall. It was adorable. The art was adorable. The characters were adorable. But I didn't care about the story at all. I didn't care about their development. I don't know whether it's me personally, but I have definitely grown since I was 18. I stand by that. But I wasn't some like bumbling idiot when I came into the workforce. I mean, I was working from the age of 16, but when I had my first office job at 18, 19, it wasn't like a struggle to adapt. I didn't have big discussions with school friends about how they were still childish and how I was an adult. And yeah, I just didn't really love it, if you didn't guess. Next, a very interesting book, we have The Bigamist by Mary Turner Thompson. This is another true crime book. This one is about Mary herself, who married a guy called Will, and everything seemed a bit strange, but he explained all of the things that were going wrong in their relationship by the fact he was a CIA agent and he had all of this, was it CIA? I'm gonna say CIA. And he had all of these secrets that he couldn't share with her, and that was on him. She shouldn't feel like he was disadvantaged for spending months away at a time, missing all family functions, rescheduling their wedding. And yeah, it's a whole book about how it turns out he was not a secret agent. He was not using this money he was sending her to get away from dangerous criminals. He was actually just supporting his several other families, but one proper other family, and whining and dining girlfriends. I found this very interesting. I don't know what it needed to have done for 5 stars, because this is someone's like memoir, I guess, but I really did find it so interesting, and I know a few of you have this on your shelves. I would definitely recommend it. Next up, an adorable story, we have Until Friday Night by Abby Glines. I gave this 4.5 stars. There were a few things missing for me to give it that perfect 5, but I did really enjoy this. This is about 2 characters, well, a relationship between 2 characters. We have, again, names escape me. If you're new to this channel, I don't remember character names, especially by the time I do a wrap up. Our main character is a young teenage girl who is mute. She has gone through a horrible tragedy where her dad has killed her mom, and since that time she has not spoken. So she is shipped like she's a package, to live with her aunt, uncle and cousin. Her cousin is in her school year, so Brady, I want to say Brady is the guy. Brady and Maggie is the girl, takes on the responsibility of bringing Maggie to school, to social events, and kind of helping her out a little bit. He's a bit resistant to do that, but he does anyway. And there is a guy, one of Brady's friends, West, who becomes very attached to Maggie. And this whole story is about her becoming herself again, and coping with being mute, and also forming a relationship. And I really enjoyed it. 4.5 stars. I listened to the audiobook and sped through it in one day. Sorry if I've moved slightly, the Amazon man just came. Interesting, exciting, love it. But yeah, straight away after that I started the next book in the series, which is Under the Lights by Abby Glines, which I gave 4 stars. I did really enjoy this one too, just the excitement wasn't really there for the first book. This is about a girl who comes back to town after some devastating family circumstances. It's always devastating circumstances, and she was best friends with Brady and Gunnar when they were kids, Brady from book number 1, and it's just all about her accepting her feelings for the guys, figuring out what she wants. And yeah, I don't want to say more than that and like spoil anything, because I can't remember what the spoilers really were. But 4 stars, did enjoy it, and I'm enjoying this series. Next up, we had my Patreon buddy read for the month, and that is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover, which is my 3rd and final 5-star read for the month. I really enjoyed this. It's currently ranking 3rd on my list of Colleen Hoover books that I've read. So we have Verity, It Ends With Us, and then Ugly Love. This is about Tate, who moves in with her brother Corbin, and he has a moody friend and neighbour, Miles. And Miles and Tate are very attracted to each other, and they start out saying they're just going to have a sexual relationship. There is going to be no actual relationship there. It's just physical. But can they cope like that? You bet they can't. And there's a lot of stuff that happened in Miles's past that means that that's all he wants, and it was very emotional. The smut, top tier. I'm not sure. I think it was better than It Happened One Summer for smut, maybe, but I listened to It Happen One Summer, and that's why I think I got so hot and bothered. This one I was reading physically on the train for like 3 hours. So probably not the best experience to experience the smut, but I had a great time with it, and definitely got me hot under the collar. And finally, a book I finished yesterday that had been going for quite a long time is You Can Go Your Own Way by Eric Smith, which I gave 3 stars. I was sent this book a long time ago. It is an ARC from Harper 360 YA, so sorry it took me so long to get to it, but then I did, and I gave it 3 stars. I didn't particularly love this one. This is a story about Adam and Whitney, who are former best friends. Whitney runs her dad's sports cafes, or the social media element of it, and Adam is running his dad's pinball arcade. But his dad has passed away, and he's dealing with a lot of grief from that. They were best friends, and then when they go to high school, they kind of drift apart, and Whitney and her friends are kind of teasing Adam. Adam's not going to try and speak to Whitney. And yeah, this one, the pacing was just weird. It took at least 2/3 of the book to actually get into the story we were wanting, which is then a snowstorm covers the city, trapping Adam and Whitney in the arcade together and forcing them to face this unexpected spark between them. So that's written on the back, but it doesn't happen till 2/3 of the way into the book, which is a little disappointing. I did appreciate the kind of pinball element to this. I've never thought too much about pinball in my entire life, but I wasn't disinterested during this, but I also wasn't interested, if that makes sense. So yeah, 3 stars. I'm not going to start demanding you all buy copies of this, but I am grateful I had the experience to read it, and maybe this is the perfect book for some of you guys out there. So there we have it. Those are the 15 books that I read in April. Do you have any opinions on any of these books? Would you like to share them? Let me know down in the comments and we can have a chat about everything to do with these books. But yeah, on that note, that's all I have time for today. So thank you very, very much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.